The shadow on the asphalt, the highway Sigbin. There is a unique kind of isolation that comes with driving down a provincial Philippine highway after midnight. The chaotic daytime traffic of tricycles and passenger jeepneys vanishes, replaced by a thick, oppressive wall of darkness. The only thing illuminating the black asphalt is the narrow beam of your headlights, cutting through the shadows and the low-hanging mountain mist. It's a peaceful drive until you realize that out here in the rural provinces, you aren't completely alone. Truck drivers, night travelers, and provincial motorists have long shared stories of a low-slung, glowing-eyed creature that races alongside vehicles before vanishing into the brush. They call it the Sigbin. I'm an expat living out in the provinces, and you're watching Mysteries of the Philippines. The rules of the night road. When you live in the provinces long enough, you start to learn the unwritten rules of night driving. You don't blow your horn unnecessarily near large bolete trees. You keep your doors locked, and you never pull over on a pitch-black stretch of road just because you think you saw an animal standing on the shoulder. The highways that cut through the agricultural lands and mountain passes of the islands are surrounded by vast, untamed wilderness. While city folks think of folklore as bedtime stories, the people who spend their lives behind the wheel know that the night belongs to something far older than the highway system. Tonight, we are going to dive deep into the modern urban legends of the highway. Sigbin, the ancient shadow stalker that turns a routine night drive into a waking nightmare. The shape of the stalker. To understand the dread this entity inspires, you have to look at its highly bizarre, unsettling description in Visayan folklore. The Sigbin is not a standard stray dog or a wild boar. It is a creature of pure deformity, an evolutionary anomaly that looks like a grotesque hybrid of a gaunt, hairless hound, a hyena, and a large rodent. Witnesses describe a beast with massive, bat-like ears that droop over its face, a long, flexible tail that whips through the air, and a heavy, muscular upper body. Its most disturbing feature is its posture. Its neck is bent low, with its head hanging down between its front or hind legs, allowing it to move with a strange, crab-like or backward-hopping motion. When caught in the high beams of a car, its eyes don't just reflect the light. They glow with a fierce, independent crimson or amber luminescence that burns right through the darkness. The scent of death. According to the old-timers, you don't always see a Sigbin first. Sometimes you smell it. The creature is said to emit a sudden, overpowering stench of decay and stagnant swamp water, a smell so foul it can penetrate right through a vehicle's air conditioning vents. Fishermen and long-haul truckers driving through the early morning hours recount stories where their vehicles were suddenly filled with the unmistakable aroma of rotting flesh. Within seconds of the smell hitting the cabin, a dark shape would materialize from the tall grass, bounding effortlessly alongside the moving vehicle at 40 miles per hour before leaping over the guardrails and disappearing into the fields. It is an evolutionary trait designed to paralyze prey with fear before the entity even makes its physical presence known. The witch's hound. The origins of the Sigbin run parallel to some of the darkest chapters of local sorcery and shamanism. In deep provincial lore, the Sigbin is rarely a completely wild, independent animal. Instead, it is believed to be the familiar, or the spiritual pet, of powerful witches, sorcerers, and traditional medicine men known as aswangs. The elders claim that these dark practitioners keep Sigbins hidden inside large earthenware jars or secret chambers beneath their floors, feeding them raw meat and fresh blood. At night, the master unleashes the hound, sending it out into the community to harvest the spiritual essence of vulnerable travelers or hunt for stray livestock. For a driver on a lonely highway, encountering a Sigbin doesn't just mean a dangerous animal is on the road. It means a dark, unseen intelligence is actively watching from the edge of the jungle. The night shift encounters. The modern highway system has brought a whole new wave of terrifying encounters with this creature, particularly among those who work the night shifts. Long-distance provincial buses, cargo trucks transporting goods from the ports, and motorcycle riders heading home after a late shift are the primary targets of these sightings. A common story shared among truck drivers involves navigating a quiet, unlit provincial bypass road around 2 in the morning. Out of nowhere, a large, dark silhouette steps onto the asphalt. It doesn't run away like a regular street dog. It stops dead in its tracks, drops its head between its limbs, and glares directly at the oncoming truck with burning red eyes. Drivers describe hitting the brakes, expecting a violent impact, only for the creature to leap completely over the roof of the truck in a single, impossible bounding motion. The incident on the mountain pass, one of the most documented recent encounters, happened on a steep, winding mountain pass connecting two major provincial towns. A motorcycle rider was traveling home alone after a heavy downpour, the road slick with rainwater and covered in thick patches of low-lying fog. As he rounded a sharp, unlit curve, his headlight caught a large, hairless creature scavenging what looked like roadkill on the shoulder. The moment the engine rumbled near, the beast snapped its head back, standing upright on its hind legs like a distorted kangaroo. The rider panicked, twisting the throttle to accelerate away. To his absolute horror, the creature didn't retreat into the jungle. It began chasing him, running parallel to his motorcycle in the ditch, its long claws clicking loudly against the loose gravel. The rider only escaped when he finally reached the bright, neon-lit perimeter of a 24-hour highway convenience store, where the beast refused to step into the artificial light. The scientific explanations. Biologists and environmental researchers offer a much more grounded, scientific counterpoint to these terrifying highway accounts. Looking closely at the actual fauna of the islands, the Philippines is home to several unique, nocturnal mammals that could easily explain a midnight sighting when a driver is fatigued and panicked. One prime candidate is the Palawan bearded pig or the Philippine civet cat, both of which are nocturnal, dark-furred animals that forage near rural roads at night. Furthermore, stray dogs suffering from severe cases of mange lose all their fur, causing their skin to look dark, wrinkled and scabby. A large, hairless dog, running with a distorted gait due to injury or illness, caught for a split second in a car's high beams, can easily look like the legendary Sigbin, transforming a sad reality into a supernatural horror story over years of retelling. Whether the highway Sigbin is an undiscovered cryptid pacing the transport lanes, a misidentified wild animal struggling to survive, or a lingering shadow of ancient witchcraft, its presence is deeply woven into the culture of the road. It stands as a reminder that despite our modern concrete highways and bright headlights, we are merely cutting through a world that has its own rules, its own rhythms, and its own nocturnal residents. I still enjoy my evening drives through the provincial landscape, watching the shadows dance across the dashboard as the road winds into the hills. The night out here is vast, beautiful, and full of quiet majesty. But whenever the air vents suddenly turn cold, and a strange shadow moves just outside the reach of my high beams, I don't slow down. Because on the dark highways of the islands, some shadows are running a race you do not want to lose.